Knights at the Round Table, a round table discussion on speculative fiction books and film. Hi everybody, welcome to the next episode of the 5th season of Knights at the Round Table. Today we are discussing the 2017 film, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. And I'm sitting at the table with Sue and with Bill, and I'm going to start with general impressions of the movie. Bill, you haven't been here in a long bit. You go first.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's what I was here for.
Well, you probably get tired of hearing me say this, but I enjoyed this movie. It wasn't the original, which is probably a good thing. It wasn't a remake of the original, another good thing. It could the movie itself probably could stand on its own without having seen the original. Although that there are some nice little lead-ins on the original one, but like I said, I really enjoyed this movie.
I have to agree with that. This was the first time I had watched the new version of Jumanji, and the original I haven't seen in 20 years. So I was kind of walking in with a free mind, and I thought I was going to dislike it because of certain things, but then I found myself just hilariously laughing all the time, and I just really enjoyed it.
Same. I really like this film. It's not a thinker. No. But it is a fun film with lots of action and so many humorous moments.
Yeah.
And with really nice, kind of heartwarming touches to the original. So yeah, I recommend this film. It was a lot of fun. This is my second viewing. I went and saw it in the cinema. Oh, I lied. It's my third viewing. I went and saw it in the cinema twice.
Liar.
Yeah.
You did go fourth, right?
No. But I mean, I'm planning on buying it, so I enjoyed it that much. I would like to add it to my library.
Yeah,
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. I might actually get this because it was too much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Just way too much.
I loved how they played on the gamer trope with the NPCs, and also the main character thing that played into the whole sidekick thing, where certain NPCs would only talk to Dr. Smolder Bravestone.
That was great.
It was great.
Smoldering intensity.
Just
That gag was my favorite gag. The entire film, every time it happened, I'm like, that's hilarious.
True.
It was my favorite. It's dumb. It's so dumb. But I laughed every time.
Actually, that was Dwayne Johnson's added according to the on the things
really?
there. Yeah. Yeah, it was just his ad. He needs a little trademark, and that was what it was.
And it was the smolder.
Yes. It was, oh my god, there were so many things about this that were just way too funny.
Yeah. And the backpack.
And the backpack. Well, I really love that moment where, obviously, much later on in the film, he's like, "All right, we gotta save the helicopter." So he just pushes him out of the helicopter, and then he goes back. He's like, "Flip the helicopter!" I'm like, "You
That
guys
was a
are
great
insane."
scene.
Great scene,
amazing.
but physically wrong.
Yes. Oh god, yeah.
But you can excuse it because they're in the game.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
things in the
Game
game
logic.
don't necessarily work in reality.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he's like,
putting
"You throw me out of the helicopter!"
So for
Oh
those
my
of you
God.
who are unaware, this is like in the third-ish act of the film, when one of the characters is used as a human sacrifice.
It was golden.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Yeah, that whole scene, that with the rhinos and running through the valley and that, it was about 5 or 10 minutes at most. Took them about 14 hours of filming and then another year of just working the
CGI.
animation
Oh my
CGI.
See, I can imagine the
Yeah.
CGI.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep laughing now. She knows why. I'll mention it later.
What surprised me about this movie, and I apologize in advance, but Nick Jonas can act. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, no,
He was just like one of the
fantastic.
Jonas brothers who were
one?
popular in the 90s. He played Seaplane.
Okay. Yeah.
He was a musician in my head, and not all musicians can act. But he
Although-
really could. I was
Yeah.
super impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Actually, it was interesting because, like I said, I watched the add-ons in the back of the movie, and they had a small interview with Karen Gillan, and she actually admitted in there that that her character actually fit her personality.
Really?
Yeah,
That
I
is
want to
fantastic.
give her a hug.
because she was that, shy and
and nerdy martial artist.
yeah. Well, maybe not the martial artist bit, but that.
No, I
That's
think she
very
does
does.
do.
Yeah,
I think
well-
she does do martial arts.
Yeah,
though.
but in high school she didn't.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, that's
So
yeah.
I'm sorry,
Sounds
but
funny.
now that just makes me wonder if back then she did that crazy walk, to the gun. Oh my god, I couldn't stop laughing. I'm
The
like, this is the
seduction scene.
if you haven't gathered already, there's probably going to be spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
worst. Oh my god.
Well, no, we're discussing the movie. You should expect spoilers.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very funny. So cringy.
She's forgotten all of our training.
Or when Bethany discovers his body.
I have to say, I absolutely love Jack Black because he played that so well. It was
Yes.
disturbing.
See, for me, I mean, I still found it amusing, but it was the weakest part because to me,
Really?
yeah, to me, he came off as everybody's favorite sassy gay friend rather than a teenage girl stuck in somebody else's body.
Yeah.
But
Okay. I
it was
guess that's
still funny.
Oh yeah. Like, you never look. I'm like, this has to be a guy thing, but
Yeah.
that was really fun.
And don't forget to aim.
Aim is really important.
These things are crazy. That was my favorite. After the Nick Jonas hug, I'm like,
Yes.
that was really.
And then he says goodbye, goodbye.
Yeah.
Before you leave in the movie.
He shakes the hand. Oh my god. I was like, that is
Yes,
so
lots of
hilarious
fun.
and sad.
Oh yeah, very, very, very fun. I mean, it's predictable, and it plays. It's like an '80s movie, but with better music.
Yeah.
So you'll get the stereotypes, right? You get the shy nerdy girl, you get the blonde beauty who is vapid and shallow and selfish, and then you have the nerdy guy, and then you have the jock.
Yeah.
And then they all go through some sort of personal growth while they're in the game.
Yeah.
So that's the basic premise. It's super simple, super 80s, but for this movie, it really works.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. I also really like the NPC interactions. They just cracked me up.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Jumanji.
And then repeat like, we didn't ask the right thing. Okay, you talk.
Yeah. Yeah, that gameplay overlay was really
Yeah,
very,
I enjoyed it.
that was
and
the
it made the movie, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw that and I was immediately reminded of a book that I read, probably like the first sort of lit RPG book that I read, and they had in the book, you have acquired dagger +1, da, da. And I'm just like, okay, that's cute at the beginning, but for the entire book, when you start getting lots of gear and it takes up like whole pages
Yeah.
worth, now you've just pulled me out of the story. And I was afraid that was going to be the same thing here, and then it didn't end up being that way,
Yeah.
so I was happy that they did it once, and then you didn't see that stupid little pop-up again.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay, there's my stats. Smoldering intensity.
Weaknesses. None. Kevin Hart's weaknesses. Cake.
Cake.
Cake. Speed. Strength.
Why would I not need these things? This is so good. Oh my god.
And then it plays out when Jack Black overtakes him and he's like, why am I running so slow?
Yeah.
So the gags in this were
Yeah.
amazing.
And then you had the when he was Spencer's character, played by Dwayne Johnson, there was in the fight scene there.
Oh, and he's
Parry,
calling out
parry,
the shots.
chop.
Parry,
Exactly.
duck, uppercut.
Yeah.
Right through the roof. Perfect.
And you knew something was going to happen because they had that precursor game music.
Yeah.
Dum 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 dum.
Yep.
Yeah, the music in this was fantastic.
Yeah.
They
It
did a
was.
really good job with making it feel video game-ish and also filmish. It was great.
I did kind of wonder when they're going through, so when they finally meet Sea Pilot, and he's like, follow me and do exactly what I do, and then they're going through like all the trap rooms and stuff on the way. There were just like a couple of moments where I'm thinking to myself, you've been here for so long. Are the traps resetting? Like, what is, if you know exactly where they are?
Yeah, what are the mechanics of the game? Is that because the player's been playing for years, basically?
Well, yeah, but he still had the one life left, so technically, they might have been just used and not activate again. Unless maybe it was reactivating for the other players. But I don't know, it was it was weird.
Yeah, I the other pun on Seaplane's name. Seaplane Jefferson, like Starship Jefferson. Yeah. It made me giggle. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, I like how they updated it for today. And I like how they made a point of it. Like when the board game was found on the beach and the guy brings it home and his son is like, who plays no board games anymore, and puts it away, and the game's like, well then, time to change into a cartridge.
Yeah.
Something befitting. And I also like the little references again later when Seaplane is like, does phone mean something different in your
Yeah. Once he realizes that they're from the future.
Well, yeah.
Because he didn't know that.
That whole scene was really quite touching.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised because, again, in that trap scene where he stops, and I forget what it was he said, but it was like, I don't know, like a
gnarly.
gosh darn it. Gnarly. That was
gnarly.
And remember, I was like, gnarly?
Yeah. So we watched this together. So she went gnarly and I went, no spoilers, no spoilers.
It was like, brain is ticking but not quite there. And then later when they're like, wait a minute, what year do you think it is right now? And I'm like, oh, okay, suddenly it makes sense. Because Kevin Hart is like, wait, so Cindy Crawford is your go-to?
Yeah. But he did actually, so Seaplane did use an expression in that scene that he would not have heard, probably not have heard from the time he disappeared, because it came out about a year later. And that was get jiggy with it.
Oh, yeah.
Na 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 na. Oh, look at you picking that up. You did!
Yeah.
Alex disappears in 1996.
Yeah.
Gets jiggy with it. Didn't come out until 1997.
That's fantastic.
Look at you.
Yeah, I read the trivia too.
I did.
I didn't have
bother.
time this time.
No, yeah. Sue is very kindly replacing a panelist who's unwell.
Sorry. But last night when I went to watch it again, well, actually I watched it this morning. But there was a couple things I was sort of thinking about from when I first saw it in the theater, and then I had to watch for them. One of the thoughts was that Seaplane's character didn't age like Robin Williams' character had aged in the previous movie, right? And I thought, but then after I started thinking about it, I said, well, that makes sense because it's his avatar, it's not him himself,
right?
I guess, yeah.
Right? So the avatar wouldn't probably have aged any. So whereas Robin Williams went into the game, but there was probably no avatars at that time. And so that's the only thing I could think of on there. And the other one that bothers me about the consistency with the other movie is, so in the old movie, or the previous movie, Judy and Peter, which were the two kids that found the board game the second time around, right? Had no, when they met back up with Alan Parrish after they all come out of the game, because the game basically sent Alan back to the past, right? And then they went through the future, or went through, grew up, came back, and they met the kids again at the end of the movie. The two kids had no recollection of the game or Alan in the past. Whereas in this movie,
he does remember
all the kids do remember as well.
All the kids remember as well.
Yeah, so it's sort of just a little discontinuity that sort of bothered me about the
I didn't
remake.
even think about that. You're right.
I guess I would attribute that to video games now. Like, if they're a really interesting, compelling story, and if you've changed that much, that you're more likely to remember the experience.
Yeah, but,
like from video games.
Yeah, but I'm getting
but
at,
when they played the game, because they sent Alan back into the past because he won, the kids themselves didn't have the opportunity to play the board game.
Yeah.
So it should have worked out the same way this time around.
Yeah.
Because he didn't disappear, so his game wasn't donated to the school, so the kids wouldn't have found it at detention, so they wouldn't have played it.
Okay.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just that little discontinuity.
Yeah, that's fascinating. yeah, that inconsistency didn't even register, although it has been a long time since I've seen the original.
Yeah. I think I only noted it because I watched the movie before I went and saw it in theaters. So
Yeah. Oh, and also, Eric was mentioning in the break that he would have been really pissed if all of that character development they went through the course of the movie would have been abandoned.
Yeah.
Which I think they would have had to have broken with the way Jumanji worked the way before in order to make this movie work.
Yeah.
But it's still really interesting. I didn't pick up on that at all. I was having too much fun
Yeah.
to really care. I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
That my hysterical laughter.
Yeah.
But
So
and also, actually, in the original movie too, the two younger kids, their parents had died, right? So at the end of that movie, their parents were there with him. I
Yeah.
guess. So their characters had probably that whole sequence had been broken as well.
Yeah. The butterfly effect, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which
That's
is brings up another interesting little point was that one of Martha was Karen
Who played-
Gillian's
played
character.
Ruby Roundhouse.
Well, the mother of Judy and Peter in the original movie had the name of Martha as well.
Oh.
So it just struck me when I watched that tail part of that movie just before coming out here, just because I need to.
That's very interesting because then you consider that Sea Pilot, his daughter's name is after
Bethany.
Bethany.
Yes.
No, that was cute.
It was cute.
Okay, I say I'm not a romantic, but
Yes, you are.
the first the first time I saw that scene and he's like, and we named our daughter Bethany, I literally went, oh. It was very sweet. It was cute. I liked it.
That's amusing. I was just entertained by the fact that he was wearing still an obvious metal shirt.
I mean, yeah, well, that didn't
Metallica.
change.
Like, no, but I mean, it's just, I don't know, some people when they grow up sort of lose a little bit of the whole old school band t-shirt kind of thing, and some people just embrace it, and he looked like he took care of his shirts, which was good, because that's the other thing. You also see, like, people who are
Well,
like...
he had 20 years in a game where he had to wear the same clothing for the entire time.
I mean, but it was an awesome costume. I'd wear that.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic.
Aviators included.
If you
Oh
could put
my
them on your
God.
nose. Oh, sorry. That was one of the gag reels when he
Oh yeah, he tries to.
so he puts his glasses on, but he actually clips the bottom of his nose when he went to put them on, and they were sort of.
When we were about
Oh
halfway
my
through this
God.
movie, and I said to Sue the blooper reels, and this must have been phenomenal.
Yeah, she did.
I
And
really
was
wanna see the
I
blooper
need to
reel.
see
If
the
you actually
blooper
went
reel.
to all the way through the credits, the blooper reel came on.
Oh, it didn't. So I
Oh.
rented it from via my PS4,
Okay.
and it didn't have the blooper reels.
Yeah, it was sad. And of course it does that little, like, micro mini thing for the ads of other movies and stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
very-
only thing I found. All the trailers were for upcoming animated Disney stuff or whatever.
Oh, on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I love all of the avatars and the way their characters interacted with the avatars in this.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that the nerd became like the giant muscle.
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
And one of my favorite aspects, other than the smolder, because the smolder cracks me up so much. I don't know why I think it's so funny. It's so dumb, but it's so funny. Anyway, was the bit where they make it past the car just drives off with the NPC who just gave them the jewel, and he's like, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." That would be me. I relate.
And meanwhile, the Jack Black character. Now there's a man.
Yeah, you know.
Looking at the back end.
And I think what really makes the smolder is every time Jack Black is like, "It's the smolder." It like just that look on his face.
Did you do that again? Okay.
The other one that cracked me up on there was just after Mouse or Moose pushes Spencer off the cliff, and he comes back in. If you ever noted that he's the only one more or less landing on
That's
his feet,
on his feet.
Yeah.
except at the very end when Karen came down on her feet.
Yeah.
But anyways, he said he was looking. You killed me. Gee, look at that.
Would you look at the size of this thing? He's like, "Where's my hair?"
I couldn't stop laughing at that.
Oh, it's just beautiful. Those gags are hilarious. I mean, honestly, yeah. If I was in the same situation, I'd be like, what is going on? Where did my wobbly bits go?
Yeah.
Oh, I killed Sue.
You guys must have been really having fun last night watching this movie.
I'm missing the top 2 feet of my body.
You notice that he checked that all out when he came back too, right?
Yeah.
They all did. They were like, "Oh, good, I'm still."
Yeah.
You know, like,
My also added favorite, Spencer, is like, oh yeah.
Hair.
He gets his hair back. Oh, it's so good. It was
Yeah.
so funny, and it's not a thinker. It's one of those movies that I would put if I've had a rough day, I would put this movie on and just go
Yeah.
brainless and giggle for a little bit.
yeah.
Good background movie
Yeah.
if you're doing something else as well.
Oh no. I can't do that. I don't know how people do that when they put on a movie and then they do something else within eyesight of the movie. Because I don't know what it is. I get mesmerized by moving images or something. Because I just end up watching the movie and forgetting what it is I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. Like, I'm in a conversation with somebody at a pub, and if I don't even follow the hockey, but if there's a hockey game on, I am watching it. I don't understand how people can ignore it. It just doesn't work for me.
No, yeah, I like I said, I got my model room where I build plastic models, and I've got the thing on the background a lot of times. And
Really?
And it was like, okay, Glenn was over the other day. It was like, okay, what do we want to watch? And he said, how about what was it, The Darkest Hour? And I said, no, I haven't watched that one yet, so I won't get much model work
That
done.
was the movie.
That was it. That's
That
the one
was
with
the
Churchill,
movie.
right?
Yes.
Yes!
Okay, that's the movie.
Sorry, we were talking about it last night. And I'm
You're
like,
welcome.
The Finest Hour? No.
So I have that at home. I haven't watched because I've been down in the model room too much. So
Yeah.
because you're right, if it's new and I haven't seen it much or haven't seen it in a while, I tend to pay more
Yeah.
attention to what's on the TV.
Oh, you got, even if I've seen, like, I used to be able to recite The Lion King, because I couldn't do anything else when somebody put it on. I would be just watching it. So I could recite it from start to finish because I'd watched it so much. Never got anything done.
Gladry does that now, doesn't she?
Moving images, man, I don't know how people can ignore them.
Yeah.
It's magic. So, other than the 2 inconsistencies with the original film, was there anything about this film that kind of bothered you much?
The only other real scene was the putting the helicopter back together while it's in motion.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I don't care. First of all, actually, one thing about that is, well, there was only one of 3 components that were broken, and they all worked together, so he would have had some control.
I mean, well, he didn't
Yeah.
crash, so he did have some.
Yeah, but the thing is you know, that other one, he still would have been able to go up. You know,
Oh.
yeah. It's just the way it was. You know, it's just, and then of course him trying to put that one, it wouldn't just come over loose by a bullet, because they're made not to do that. But the other thing too is him just happened to have that little pin in there.
Yeah, where did he get that pin
Yeah.
from?
Well, first of all, it's not even the right pin. It probably would have snapped from the
You had
sheer-
time to look at the
What
pin.
video game logic?
That's what I chalked it up to. But yeah.
Yeah.
And of course the helicopter flying on its side, he just took all its lift. It's crashing,
Yeah.
especially that low.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah, also,
They
and
were
for
very
that
low.
long.
Yeah.
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 So really, that was the biggest thing that really bothered me about the whole movie.
Was the helicopter. And that was the scene I loved the most.
Don't get me wrong, it was a great scene. It just,
Yeah.
you know, from just as simple, like I said, it's video logic or game logic and not necessarily reality.
Yeah.
And then again, it's also Hollywood logic. So
There is that.
Yes.
Yes.
There's that. Yeah.
I can't really think of anything that really bugged me a lot. The only thing, and I've already said it, the only thing that I found a little bit weak was Jack Black's character, because he was less young lady and more sassy gay friend.
I still loved that.
No, I loved
Because
it. It was
was
still
just
funny. Like, yas, queen! Like, okay. Although I say "okay" like that, but I do have a couple of students in my women's kickboxing class who do say that. So maybe I'm the one whose perceptions is off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that bugged me was, of course, right at the beginning, you have this stupid ditzy blonde, and I'm like, if we have to deal with you for the entirety of this movie, I'm going to shoot something. Like, but thankfully, her character progresses throughout the movie, so it was fine. But I'm like, if you stay being that ditzy dumbass by the end, I'm just going to slug you. Like, ugh. But, other than that...
I liked her comment. I haven't had my phone for a couple of days, and I think all my other senses are coming through. Like, your phone's a sense?
Yeah, that made me laugh. Which, followed by, does phone mean something different in the future?
Yep.
Also, the fact that I'm not Instagramming this right now is insane.
Yeah. And automatic block.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she wants to go camping at the end of the movie. And her friend doesn't understand that.
Yeah, and she's just like... Oh, it's golden.
Yeah, I mean, it's super, super tropey. And you really don't have to think. But I think I enjoyed it. It's still... I found it very charming. Mm-hmm. Although, did you guys see the the honest trailers for Jumanji?
No, not yet, but I will now watch it because now that I've seen it.
Okay, so Honest Trailers did an Honest Trailer thing for Welcome to the Jungle. And it was a great one, but they also mentioned about how it played like it showed a video game from the character's perspective until it decided to switch, and then it became just your regular action movie. And the times it decided to switch was all the extra scenes with the villain, which if you were a player, unless it was a cutscene, you wouldn't get to see that.
Yeah. Which
made its inclusion in the film kind of, wait, what? But, I mean, it's not a biggie. Don't think about it. Just don't think.
Yeah.
And that's what you go into that movie for.
Yeah, you go into that movie just to not think.
Yeah, and you could probably almost say that with a lot of the Dwayne Johnson type movies.
Yeah, but I think... I don't know. I really like a lot of his... He has progressed something fierce.
He has a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see... Like I said, I'm kind of interested to see what his next one, Rampage.
Rampage.
Like.
I want to see that.
I unashamedly really want to see that movie.
Of course, the wolf flies. That would be me.
Because what we really need right now is a giant crocodile
in the river.
In the river, yeah.
Yep.
I really do want to see it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts and star rating, I guess. Since we've done nothing but gush about this movie. Sue?
I had a really good time with it, so I think overall, despite the tiny little things in my frustration with the blonde, other than that and the stupid little pop-up thing, I think I'm gonna give it a 4. It was still really funny. I kept laughing. I'm like, I can't hate this movie. It's just too funny.
Yeah. Bill?
I echo you on that one. I'll give it a 4 as well. I really enjoyed the movie. It was fun to watch, and despite the little inconsistencies that I pointed out, you can probably explain it somewhat, or as we mentioned, or
chalk it up to game logic.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, same for me. I'm giving this a 4. As far as action comedies go, this is close to as good as it gets. I mean, Hot Fuzz was better, but.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is a good one. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's funny. It was well acted. There were some really touching scenes in there, and it was just, as long as you turn your brain off, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. So, yeah, 4. All right, who wants to pick the next one?
You go. It's been a billion years.
Billion years?
I think you made that pun, that exact same pun, the last time Bill was here.
Yes.
I gave you the Air Canada one, damn it.
So the next movie we're watching is part 1 of the 2-part Indian epic, Bahubali. This is Bahubali The Beginning, aired in 2015. So if you have any comments, screened, was released in 2015.
Premiered
in 2015. Thank you, Eric. So if you have any comments or thoughts about Welcome to the Jungle, do leave them down below. I'm usually looking there. I'll comment back if you're not being a dink. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much, guys. Bye!
Bye. need a clipboard.
Yes.
Smack. Take 534.